Well, let's look at some other stocks here. I mean, the next one that I would love to show you, of course, is Richemont. And a while back, I was quite keen on Richemont, and I said, listen, guys, just give it a little bit of chance so that it can show its hands. And what happened? Exactly what I thought. I mean, all these stop counters, you usually find that if they get under pressure, I've seen it many a year. Remember, there's some stocks in the world that you can always see that the fund managers, they just wait for the stock to pull back. And then the moment you think it's going to go lower, the stock turns around and it surprises you to the top. Now Richemont is one of those companies. In actual fact, I sometimes say you can be your own fund manager. So what you must do is you must just write down a few names, and I'm going to call a few that I know. It is Remgro and a Richemont and a Reinet and a British American Tobacco and an Anheuser-Busch, and maybe one that's going to turn out in time to come is Mediclinic International. I mean, that's all those stocks that you can just say it's solid companies behind them. And well, let's just have a look at Richemont. Now, I can remember that I said after an ugly sell-off, and I just mentioned it in EOH, I said, let's just wait a little bit and let's just be a little bit patient so that we just don't go in and rush to buy the stock. So let's just have a look at Richemont. Now, Richemont, first of all, had this also a double top formation that was negative, and we all know that. I mean, and I've showed also where it gets confirmed. I just want to show you for the viewers that maybe missed the first part of the show. There you are. It was confirmed when this level of about 104 Rand broke. It played out to the bottom. In actual fact, it could have gone a little bit lower, but I think the Rand came to its, you can almost say to its help. And if you look at it, look at this consolidation. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, EOH. And that also is exactly the point for stocks like a Richemont and a British American Tobacco. If you want to add it into your portfolio, remember, those stocks that I've mentioned, and I mean there's thousands of them, that some of the fund managers are just waiting for a chance. Now, there you are. Richemont broke above this crucial level. And remember, this is a weekly chart. I mean, this is not even a daily chart. And the reason why I'm showing you this weekly chart, because if you are a long-term investor and you think like a fund manager, you don't buy for the 1% and the 2% moves up here and down there. You buy for the long term. Now, what happened here is, look at Richemont. The level broke at about 95.50. That is when this point turned into a support. And that tells you that the stock wants to go higher. Why? There's the low. There's like a tweezer bottom. There's a higher low. And then a higher high gets confirmed. Now, when you get to a higher high, it actually tells you that the stock wants to go higher. And it is taking out previous resistances and it's turning them into a support. Now, while the stock is moving above this 95.53, you can be happy. You can say to yourself, the momentum has turned to the upside and you can buy it. Of course, remember the stock rallied in a few days from about 91 to 96, and that's almost an 8% rally. I mean, that is a beautiful rally. But I mean, if you are a long-term investor, you would love to buy it around these levels and it can go higher. And unfortunately, your stop loss will be this 91 Rand 10 cents and at the worst case, 89 Rand 10 cents. And always remember, and you know, I've learned from really some of the top fundamental analysts, and most of them, they say, if you do your homework and you know the company and you're happy with the company and you're happy with the management, you come out and you say to yourself, listen, guys, I like you. And if you start to buy them and you still believe in them, you say to yourself, I want to carry on buying the stock and I want to accumulate. But I mean, I'm not keen on that because I always know that you can burn your fingers. But I mean, like a stock like Richemont, something horribly must go wrong. Otherwise, the stock will probably recover. Let's have a look at British American Tobacco. In actual fact, a few weeks ago, and one of the viewers also said to me, Frans, is it maybe time to buy British American Tobacco? In actual fact, I actually called the stock a while back. And I said, listen, I like the company. And in actual fact, I thought that the stock can maybe recover from here. And what happened? Yes, the stock is recovering. It's giving us a beautiful, what we call a V reversal. And it is on the brink of giving us another buying opportunity. And there you are. There's the big crucial one. And I want to show you why I say that. Because remember, it fell on a heap to about 427.90. Can you believe that? I mean, terrible. But what I like about the stock is, look at this. It actually fell below this line. So it turned it into a resistance. It gave us a good buy keys there. That's negative. It fell even further for about 40, 50 rand. It turned around in a bang. But look what happened. The last few weeks, you can almost say the last 2 weeks, it used this line that was previously a resistance. It turned it into a support and it consolidated above this line. And guess what? It moved up from here. So there you had a negative goodbye keys. This one I will not say is a goodbye keys. It's actually a consolidation above the support line. But both of them signals the same message. And that message is you can buy the stock. So if you like British American Tobacco and you did not buy it and you didn't fiddle with it, I think it's maybe time to add on to a position or even buy it. Make use of a stop loss of 472.27. I'm going to give even a bigger stop loss. That is at 458.60. But I like the stock. And the reason why I like the stock, you know, when you get to a point where the stock fell off a cliff, usually when it starts to work its way up, it can go much higher. And if you're a trader, of course, you can always take your few percent. If you are a medium to a long-term investor, I think it's maybe back to get into. First of all, that Richmond of a few minutes ago, and maybe British American Tobacco. There's another stock. Well, this is not another stock. This is a commodity. And I want to show you this. And the reason why I like to show you this is how quickly a commodity like white maize or any other commodity can really turn around. Now, you know that the rain is around, and that's why I want to show it to a lot of the viewers that is in areas where it's raining a lot nowadays. Now, what happened? We didn't expect, and this is white maize, and it's a daily chart. We didn't even expect a wonderful crop. So what happened is the farmers planted it, and everybody was nervous with the drought, and the price went higher and higher and higher and higher and all the way, and it went to about 3,350. Guess what? When it started to rain, this price turned around and it went down all the way. Can you believe it? I mean, it went down all the way from 3,350. It went down to about 2,580 rand. I mean, in a matter of, you can almost say 3 weeks, it lost almost 300 rand per ton. That's a lot. But I mean, if you are a trader, and I know I've got plenty traders that I've talked to, and they love it. What did they say to me? They said, listen, Frans, let's just watch the stock. And what happened? Now, this is a classic example. This is a resistance line that turned into a support. Some guys will say, yes, it's also a trend line. That's fine. But for me, I say, while the stock is moving below this trend line, it remains a resistance line. So what happened yesterday? There was a beautiful candle here, and this is what we call a dragonfly doji candle. Some guys will actually say it's an inverse hammer, but I like to call it a dragonfly doji. Reason being, there's a little shadow there at the top. This upper shadow tells me, yes, there was some guys that nibbled on white maize yesterday. And what I also liked about this candle, yesterday we had this, what we call a breakaway gap. Now this breakaway gap suddenly turned around, and when the stock actually broke this resistance line today, and that is exactly at 2,670 rand, these guys that bought on this dragonfly doji candle realized that they bought the stock, they're happy with it, and this commodity wants to turn around. And what happened? It suddenly moved up. Now, the big thing is, can you see these few days here? Every day for the last, you can almost say, couple of 6 sessions, white maize tried to break this line, but it could not. And that tells you it is a resistance line. And look what happened. Every day it closed below this line. That means that every opportunity that the guys had to use this line, they sold white maize down. They said, I had enough of it. I want to lock in profit. And what happened as well, as the rain was coming, there was a lot of guys that actually went short in white maize. And they said, while this line is the resistance, we're happy, we can just sell on. Now, I've said it on the program many a time, and I'm going to repeat it again. If you want to short a stock, doesn't matter, a share, a commodity, an index, doesn't matter. Never short a stock after it fell almost 20 or 30% or 200 Rand or 300 Rand in this case. Don't do it. Don't short it right at the end. Try to find a place quite at the top of a rally. Take your short there with the candles and take a tiny profit. The simple reason why I'm saying that is if you do that repeatedly, what you will do is the moment the stock has fallen too far, you buy it, you take your few percent. If the stock rallies and it goes too far to the top and the candles warn you and maybe you oscillated, just come back and short sell it and take your few rand and go. And that's exactly what I do on the Aussie. You can see that on Twitter sometimes I say 100 points in the bank, 200 points in the bank, 50 points stop loss. In actual fact, I hate to take a stop loss, but for the traders that follows me, I teach them if they need to take a stop loss, they can do it. But what I wanted to show you there is if you just take tiny profits, 100 points, 200 points, 1%, 3%, in actual fact, the market will treat you well. And if you stick to that rule, where you just take the easy money every time that you trade, then you can make a lot of money. In actual fact, I've got a friend, and I want to end the show with that. He says, say for instance, you trade 100 times in a year on the Aussie, and you just take 100 points every time on one contract. You make yourself 100,000 Rand per annum if you just stick to the rule to take the easy money. So thank you so much for watching the show. Of course, drop us the emails of the request to admin@Frans or frans@fransdeklerk.com, and we will be happy to answer your request. Thank you so much. All the best.